more students come on in, that'd be great. I want to make sure I'm just cognizant of, people need to eat dinner and everything. So we're gonna fine tune this as we do more of these presentations, because we're supposed to start at 6:30, but do a 45-minute presentation. But we'll still end at 7:15 if you want to stay a little bit longer for questions, and that's great. So again, my name is Marcelo. I'm the father of Soledad Vasquez and Red Group. She's 11 years old, and so this is something that we just wanted to do. Yes, she didn't want me to do it. You're like, that's my dad again. But really, how do we help our fellow families, especially the students? That's the most important thing, the students. We want to make sure that both of you, and really we're all students of life, but especially if you're a junior right now in school, I always tell the students, my goal is not to help you be eligible for college. I know, that's shocking, right? Of course I want to be eligible. No, you don't. You don't want to be eligible. You want to be competitive. There's a big difference between being eligible for something and being competitive. So when you're eligible for something, that means you meet the standard. Being competitive means that you're going above and beyond. So when you apply for a job, you want to go above and beyond the requirements because you want to get the job, right? I mean, when you apply for a scholarship, are you the only one applying for the scholarship? No, you're going to have other people apply for the scholarship. So you want to be the most competitive one. And so that's what this sheet is about. It's about, and some of you may be thinking, oh, this is very familiar, but this is really about how you can approach any application that you apply to for college. So both of you are juniors, and so parents, if you want to try to answer questions, that's fine. But you're in the perfect situation because what is the last year with grades that will appear on your transcript by the time that you apply to a college? Your junior year, exactly. So when you apply for college in which semester? Fall or spring? Fall, exactly. So you don't have your grades for your fall semester. The last semester with grades is the spring semester. So that's why we love talking to juniors, because literally this year is your last shot at impacting that GPA. They want to see that upward progression of your grade point average. Now, there's different things that they're going to be looking at. Now, the reason why you have these trees, so you know nothing about them, but let me just give you some background. So the reason why I have these trees is because when I was reading applications for UCLA, I did that for about close to 4 years, and I'm reading applications this year also, but not as much as last time. I noticed that these were 3 things that they kept looking at. Now on the application, obviously academics, but leadership and civic engagement or service. How do you quantify it? What are they looking for? Do you have any ideas or tips, or maybe somebody said something about what are they looking for in the application in regards to service or leadership? Because GPA is easy, right? Get us close to anywhere. We need to be eligible for the UC 3.0 or higher, but it's close to a 3.5, 4.0. That works too, but you don't just care about the GPA. You look at leadership. So what do you think they're looking for in leadership? What does that mean? What are you looking for? You organized a big sale and you raised $200. Is that leadership? What are some examples that you've heard that are good examples? Or let me ask you this. Or actually, no, let me ask you. Let me give you an example. So one thing that they were looking for is they look for consistency. So I like to use UCLA not only because I worked there, but also I worked there past tense. But they received more applications than any university in the United States. They received over 100,000 applications for like 6,000 spaces. And so 4.0 GPA, big deal. So what? We don't care. We got a lot of those. We got a 4.0, good for you. Congratulations. What else have you done? So what they look for in leadership is they're looking for consistency. And when I realized that what they were looking for was that if you're involved around 2 to 3 hours every week for every month for an entire year in the same thing. Okay? So, what's your name? Gabriel. So Gabriel, what do you like? What are you passionate about? It can be anything. Comic books, swimming. Okay. So you love swimming. Okay, good. So you're doing swimming, and you're doing that obviously at least maybe like 4 or 5 hours a week. You're doing that throughout the year. Now you're participating here. Let me ask you: is there a Conejo City Swim Student Club? Congratulations, you are the president of Conejo City Swim Club. Matter of fact, here's your vice president, co-president. Because it's a hard job, so you are both co-presidents. Congratulations. Congratulations. Because there is one, right? This is a perfect example of leadership. You create something that does not exist. And let's say you pitch it to all your fellow swimmers. Hey, everyone, you got your fellow co-presidents here for the Conejo City Swim Club Student Championship Team. Who wants to join? 3 people. Does that look good? It's really good. Because it doesn't matter if one person joined or 100 people joined. The thing is that you started. You're here anyway. You spend 3 hours every single week for 1 whole year. What that demonstrates to a campus like UCLA is that you're showing commitment, that you're consistent and you're focused. That's the kind of student they want. Now, I triangulated or compared this information with colleagues at Stanford, Harvard, and also at Cornell. And it's not in that particular in terms of 3 hours, but they're looking for the same 3 things, just in different amounts or in different styles. But that's what they're looking for in terms of leadership. Service is the exact same thing. So it could look like doing swimming, but maybe like tutoring somebody to swim, or teaching maybe somebody to reg group, a particular technique. Now, academics. With academics, 4.0 sounds great, but here's the question: what they're going to ask, especially like a campus like UCLA. The question is, who are you competing against when you apply to, let's say, a campus like UCLA or San Diego or any of the UC campuses? Who do you think you're competing against? Who are they comparing you to? The top students of where? At other schools? That's a very good answer. Because at some other private institutions, they do that. But at the University of California, you're actually competing against 10 years of history of all the applicants that were accepted into UCLA, but only from your high school. So you're only competing against the lineage of everyone that graduated from your high school. Royal? Okay, both of you Royal. Great. So they have historical data of the average number of honors and AP classes that Royal high school graduates who got accepted into UCLA, what they took, that's who you're competing with. So, I don't know how many honors and AP classes you have at Royal, but let's say you have 20, okay? Let's say you took 20. Where you want to be, now, again, you don't have to push yourself to take honors or AP if you're not ready, because one big question is it good to take a lot of honors or AP so it look like, wow, you took a lot. But then, the average GPA for those honors or AP classes is a 6. That's not good. That's because then a campus like UCLA is going to say like, you challenge yourself, which is good, but you didn't quite find out what is your niche, if you're ready for honors or AP. Because if you're getting C's and D's, yeah, it looks impressive in terms of honors or AP, but if you're not doing well, you haven't quite figured out yourself in terms of what that balance is. So, around 30% is what UCLA tends to look for, and other competitive colleges tend to look for in terms of if you're taking a competitive amount of honors or AP classes. But you want to make sure that you're getting A's and B's. So if you take one honors or AP class and then you get let's say you get a B. That's good. So take another one. maybe take 3. But if you get a C and you took 2, maybe go back and take 1 and then just focus on the other classes. Because again, if you have 3.0 or higher, you're eligible for University of California. You need a 2.0 and higher from California State University. For the privates, it depends. Every private institution is a little bit different, but the more competitive ones definitely above the 3.0. Any questions? Cool. Yeah. Yeah. No, they would look at all 4 years of high school. So let's say, not that you want to do that, but let's say you do that. Yeah. So what's going to happen is that if a student does transfer to, let's say, a less competitive school, now remember, keep in mind, the last thing you want to do is have that senior year take. So if you as a student is going to be getting used to the environment and everything, that can negatively impact. So that's not going to look number one. Number 2, they're going to take into consideration that new school, because they're going to look at those first 3 years. Oh, Harvard Westlake. Oh, and then they transfer to XYZ school, where they only have one honors or AP class. But they're going to look at those first, so they're going to take that into consideration. Yeah, they're not going to start all afresh just from the senior year. Now one thing you want to be aware about is, in terms of when you're looking for your colleges, being aware of early action and early decision. So both of you are very talented, you're going to have very strong academic records, but if you're looking for a college that has early action or early decision process, what that means is, do you know what early action or early decision is? No? Okay. You apply early, right, because it's early action, early decision, but here's the difference between the two. If it's early action, then you apply early. They let you know early if you've been accepted or not, but you're not making a decision. You can still have a choice about, okay, you accepted me early, and sometimes they sweeten the pot a little bit. They may give you a scholarship, or maybe you get access to priority registration. Early decision, you really want to think about that one, okay? Because early decision is, if you're accepted, let's say you want to apply to USC, Stanford, UC Berkeley, and a private institution that has early decision. Early decision is typically done through private institutions. You won't find a UC or CSU, or usually a public institution that does early decision. So the early decision one is your safety story. Okay? They accept it. Then you decide, they gave me a good scholarship package. If you accept that package, you are signing a legal contract that says, I am going to your university, and even if Berkeley gives me a free ride, you're not going to Berkeley. You're going to the one that you signed for an early decision. So be very careful about it. If it's early action, then that's okay, because then you can still make a decision. Okay? Cool. All right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And every private institution is going to have a different way of sweetening the pot, because for a private institution, it's very important to know how many students are going to be coming, so that they could pretty much gauge what they need in regards to students and bringing in those tuition dollars. For private institutions, they don't get money from the state. So it's really tuition driven, and also with their endowment from all the donations from donors and all that. So that's why publics, they don't really use it that much. No, not really. Actually, I think Cal Poly San Luis Obispo may do that. But double check on that. Now, using U.S. News and World Rank reports, because in the colleges that you're going to be investigating on what to choose, you want to make sure that they have the right fit. What's the difference between a UC and a CSU campus? University of California campuses tend to be very research oriented, which is, it's not good or bad, it's just the way it is. If it's a California State University campus, it's research but also hands-on. Let me give you an example. If you want to go to UCLA and study business administration, they don't have business administration. They have that as a specialty at UCLA, but you can't major in it because it's a research institution. So you would be studying economics. If you go to Cal State Northridge, if you want to study business administration, you can, but they also have economics as well. So they have the research approach as well as the practical hands-on. So that's a good example in terms of the difference between the two. Which one's better? Again, it's what you're looking for. Either way, they're preparing you for a career afterwards. So you want to make sure in terms of what you're looking for that it's going to be about the career. So, how to strategize for your junior year, very critical. So, you want to make sure, again, those grades, you want to make sure that you're reaching out to resources to get as high of a grade as possible. Leadership, what I just explained about leadership, if you don't have anything that's 1 year, it's got to be a year long, and it's got to have an average of about 2 to 3 hours every single week. This is a perfect opportunity to do it. I mean, you're in the middle of your fall semester. If you could start something now and continue it into the spring, you could put down on your application that that's what you did for almost an entire year. And then because the senior year on the application is self-reported, okay? So it's self-reported. So you're going to put down what classes, obviously you know what classes you're taking, fall of your senior year, you're going to put that down. Senior year, you've got to do that as well. So even though it hasn't started, you put down your senior year classes. You're not going to put down the grade, of course, but you will also put down what you're doing in terms of leadership and civic engagement. So if you're not doing something right now, it's a good opportunity to think about, what do I want to do? What do I want to commit to something? But do something that you're passionate about. Because if you're not passionate about it, it's going to fall by the wayside. Okay? So we talked about leadership. Service, again, is the same thing. So you want to make sure that whatever it is, whether it's a swimming club, it doesn't matter how many people join, and it can be related to the leadership, to the service. Now, extracurricular activities. You don't have to do leadership and service, and then you're like, well, I gotta study. Well, what about my swimming? Swimming is part of extracurricular activities. So if you don't have time to demonstrate a leadership opportunity, that's okay, because they look at what you're doing in terms of competitive swimming, especially if you're going to meets and everything, and you're competing and you're practicing. That plays into that factor as well in regards to the time that you're putting into extracurricular activities. So don't be afraid that, oh my goodness, I don't have a lot of leadership experience. You're also obviously looking at jobs. Do you work? You don't work? You do work? You don't work? So if you want to, I mean, swimming is work, but if you do add a part-time job, again, what they're trying to find out is how well do you juggle responsibilities outside the classroom with the responsibilities inside the classroom. Any questions? Cool. Yeah.
For like the service, do you really do this with your volunteers?
Yes.
You don't get where you're 35?
Yes. And the way they define leadership, they have examples like what's called primary leadership and secondary leadership. Primary leadership, some examples of that would be being the president of a club, being the vice president. Secondary leadership would be something like you're the treasurer of the organization. Being a member of something that's not really a level of service or leadership. Here's another example. Primary and secondary leadership. The last topic that I want to spend some time on, because right now we're about 12 minutes shy of 7:15, is scholarships. When's the right time to look for scholarships? Your junior year. Here's the reason why. a lot of the applications for scholarships are going to be, the deadlines are going to happen during the fall semester of your senior year. So you're also applying for your colleges in the fall semester of your senior year. You're not going to have a lot of time. So it's basically the same application every single year. So right now, and no rush, you can do that now or you can do it in spring, but no later than the summer before your senior year starts. Start to research what are those scholarship applications and get the application. Get the application, and especially if you're applying for the University of California where they have their essays, usually you can tweak those a little bit for your scholarship essays. Now, the scholarship essays, do they read every single essay? They read every single essay. Because I read every single essay. We read it. So if someone said, nah, they can't read all those essays. Yes, we read all those essays. As a matter of fact, let me tell you this. UC application, perfect example. Because we're asking for academics, your leadership, service. You have to write your essays. And even for private institutions, you have the interviews and everything. On a UC application, we will spend no more than 9 to 10 minutes reading that application. So think about it. 4 years of high school, you probably edited your essays for hours, and we're only going to spend 10 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes is too long. It's usually about 7 to 8 minutes because we have to read all those applications. Highest I ever read was 1,200 applications, but now multiply those applications by the number of essays. That's a lot of essays. And when is the application due? November 30th. Guess when I read the applications? During Christmas. Okay? Because we got to get the answers in by late January, early February, because we got to give you a response by May. So it's not like I've got 5 months to read these essays. I've got to read them within about a month and a half. So we read every single essay. Yes?
How can we tell if our parents are professional help by an essay? How can we tell
It's really hard. I mean, we can't tell if a professional writer has helped the student, but what makes a good essay, and you're going to do this like in the summer, you don't have to do this right now, but I'm talking about it because it ties into the scholarships. A good essay is an essay where the first, it sounds really simple, but you'd be surprised how few students do it. The first and second sentence is an eye-catching statement. Think about it. Help me out. I'm reading over 2,000 essays. It gets a little boring, okay? It's the same. We don't like to make light of this because I just want to be truthful with you. When students use family, I don't know how do you say this, family tragedies, family dynamics, and how you're basically trying to paint a picture of hardship. We read a lot of that, whether, again, being very respectful, whether it is divorce, whether it is death in the family, whether it is a relationship breakup, we get it. You know, these are humans writing this application. Here's the question that they're always going to have. So what did you do? So what happened? You had a death in the family. It hurt you. It impacted your academics. As a matter of fact, you could probably explain in your essay the reason why one semester there was a little dip in your GPA. Okay, but what happened? How did you come back stronger? How did this help you become a more competitive student, or help you realize, you know what, I'm going to use this to my advantage? They're always trying to find out, how does that essay paint a picture where if you had a hardship, how did you come back stronger? One of the worst ones we can read in an essay is you went to Europe and you had a fantastic experience there. As a matter of fact, you were swimming and you got invited to the junior, Olympics and everything, and you went to this state and you saw all this great stuff. And I'm a better person for that. And I became more aware. I've seen things. That's great. So when you came back with all this awareness, what happened? Exactly, that's the thing. It's the worst. I mean, because it shows a lot of privilege, and it shows that, again, what a competitive student does is they will bring that experience and impact others in a very positive way. So be careful with using that kind of approach to an essay. So for the scholarships, those essays will help you out with those applications, but look for those scholarship applications by the summer, right after your junior year, before your senior year, because you're not going to have a lot of time to look for those scholarships during the fall semester. Okay? Any questions? Oh, wow. Yes.
Do we have different letters before we apply, or a generic letter?
Yeah. It can pretty much be the same essay, but just make sure you change the name of the college. Yeah. Because on the UC application, it's one application. Are you applying to the UC campus? Probably. Want to apply to UC? Yeah. So it's one. UC application is easy because it's one application, and in the back you check off the boxes: Berkeley, San Diego. By the way, if you're applying to the UCs, you're planning on applying to San Diego, UCLA, or Berkeley, we have something called the 4UC rule. Apply to a fourth campus, so you're applying to those three, because the likelihood of not being accepted to San Diego, Berkeley, or LA is pretty good because it's very competitive. So you want to pick a fourth one. Now, they do have a little, for example, UC Merced. That is the newest UC campus. One thing that they're doing that they probably don't tell you about is, in order to get more students into UC Merced, because not a lot of students want to go to UC Merced, it's the newest campus, and it's in Merced. So, if you apply to UCLA and you're denied, as a little carrot, they'll say, well, we'll accept you to UCLA, but in your junior year, if you decide to go to Merced for your first year and your second year, if you like it at Merced, you can stay in Merced. But if you don't like it, we have an agreement where if you want to come into UCLA your senior year, you can do that. So just know that there's that little loophole they got, because they're really trying to get students into Merced. Merced?
They have a picture of the whole new addition, all the new buildings, swimming and everything at Merced. And she said it's
Yeah. Oh yeah. And think of
it's brand new.
Yeah. And Merced is a UC campus, so it comes with all of the resources with it. Now officially UCLA is the smallest UC campus in the UC system. But it's the smallest campus, acreage-wise. But they have like over 40,000 students. So yeah, it's pretty crowded. But obviously they got a lot of resources, and those resources Merced students share with that as well, in terms of like interlibrary loans and all that kind of stuff. So
you said you're for UC.
So the fourth one that
one should be Merced, or you don't?
Yeah, it could be Merced, it could be Merced, it could be Santa Cruz, it could be Davis.
No, but what I'm saying is, let's say it's not in your list of applications, but UCLA is, and you don't give it to UCLA. Do you still get the offer, or the suggestion that?
Oh, well, they make contact. They make contact. They're going to go first to the students that said UCLA, Berkeley, Merced, and Santa Cruz. And then if you got rejected to Berkeley and UCLA, then, or even if you didn't apply to Merced, they may still come and ask you. Because it's a UC application, you can't apply.
It's not a common application. It's common, right?
I mean, there is the common application, but you don't use the common application for the UC. It's a UC application, so you can't apply to UCLA. You're applying to the University of California. California State University system, you have to apply, you have to submit an application to each campus, but it's done electronically, and so when you submit one application to a CSU campus, the second, third, and fourth ones automatically populate. So it's still efficient, but not as efficient as the UC application. All right. Oh wow. So my contact information is down over here. Now, obviously, we wanted to do this in November for the juniors, but you got time. You don't have any seniors here. Senior?
I'm sorry,
You're middle school. Oh, wow.
He's really getting ahead.
Yeah, my middle school. Wow. We're gonna have presentations for middle school students and elementary school students too. So even if you're the parent of an elementary school student, we'll touch on that as well. But students, you got my contact information over here. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a phone call. Again, I'm a fellow parent, so there's no charge. You don't have to pay me anything. Just ask me a question if you want. I'd be more than happy to. Okay?
Thank you.